Hello, I'm Ashley, the engineer at Andover Norton. Now, one of the things that does crop up occasionally is a swinging arm. A lot of people tend to get this not so much wrong, but not quite correct. How the swinging arm is made to do its job. Now, the swinging arm's job is to keep the rear wheel in a vertical position in line with the front wheel. Now, how it does that is you have the spindle which goes through here, which should be at 90 degrees to your steering axis effectively. So as you sat on the bike, it should be at 90 degrees. Now the next thing it's got to do is hold the rear wheel vertical in line with the front wheel. Now some people turn around and they worry too much about these plates. Now, realistically, unless you've got a good way of measuring your swing arm spindle position in relation to these plates, not a lot you can really do. But it doesn't necessarily really matter. Providing these are close to upright as they can, then the rest comes down to these holes in the swinging arm. Some people complain that this bottom edge is slightly out from this bottom edge. It doesn't matter, providing you can get the spindle through. The reason it doesn't matter is because when you pull this up, it doesn't matter where those slots are. If you can get the spindle through there and across into your stub axle, and you've got all your spacers in pinched up on your bearing centre races, then it's going to pull up to be vertical with these plates. It doesn't matter how big either side the gap is in the slot. All that would do would just mean this could move up and down a little bit more. Now, if one end is at the top, so if this bit was held up to the top like that, and this one was down to the bottom, resting on the bottom of that, and it still moved and done up, that's good. It will still work and it will still hold your rear wheel upright. Now, some people still can't visualize it. The reason they can't visualize it is because they're trying to think too hard of what your spindle's doing. Your spindle, when you put it through, it's just a setup and just holds the bearings, the bearing spacer in the hub and the spacers flat against there and pulls them up all nice and tight. That will then hold your wheel vertical. Now, as you can see, if one of these was off, whether it was these plates were at quite a steep angle, and you couldn't get them to pull up, and you'd find your wheel would be over one way. Likewise, measuring your spindle in relation to where those holes and those plates are. So realistically, it doesn't really matter too much if you've got a little bit of up-down movement in there, because it's the case of when it's all brought up tight to hold the wheel up. Now, hopefully that explains how the swinging arm functions and how it's made. There are some people out there that worry too much about it, and then they can measure it and they turn around and they said it's not exact. You try making a welded piece with the plates at the side exact. Yeah, this day and age with modern CMM, we can measure it quite accurately. Back in the day, they were probably just using a plate and a set of squares to check how accurate that was, and there would have been quite a generous tolerance, I would imagine, back in those days. Otherwise they'd have been throwing these things away at a rate of knots that wouldn't have been viable to make them. Any questions or any queries, please feel free to get in touch with myself and Simon at Andover Norton. Thank you very much.